But now I know if you choose, happiness will come to you. So I'm making more room for God. I ran around in circles, so unaware, caught up in a mindset, struggling just to get my share. Now with eyes wide open, I see abundance everywhere. So I'm making more room for God. So I'll open up my heart, I'm lifting up my thoughts, and breaking down the walls that surround my mind. Something amazing is happening right now. I'm making more room for God. That's right. Making more room. I never could imagine this to be the case. The years of pain and heartache all now have been erased. Now I know the meaning of amazing grace. So I'm making more room for God. Standing at the crossroads, I've never felt so strong. If love has changed your life, you wanna pass it on. Keep growing in God, and you can't go wrong. Let's start making more room for God. So let's open up our hearts, keep lifting up our thoughts, and breaking down the walls that surround our minds. Something amazing is happening right now. Right now, making more room for God. Oh yeah, we're making more room. Tear down the walls and open wide the doors. Making more room. We're making more room. Making more room. We'll never set the world on fire if we're only preaching to the choir. Making more Making more I used to see the world with a cynic's view. I thought the winning game was only relegated to the lucky few. But now I know if you choose, happiness will come to you. So I'm making more room for God. I ran around in circles, so wrong. If love has changed your life, you wanna pass it on. Keep growing in God, and you can't go wrong. Let's start making more room for God. So let's open up our hearts, keep lifting up our thoughts, and break
Good morning. Welcome to Spiritual Life Center. We're glad that you could join us this morning for our online celebration. And so we invite you now to help us begin by singing together, Surely the Presence.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
And so we do join together and recognize the presence of God wherever we are, but especially this morning with our minds and hearts open to that presence. And so let us begin in prayer. Loving Spirit, Mother, Father, everything God, we give thanks this morning for this opportunity to celebrate your presence in our lives, in all aspects of our lives, especially as expressed through fathers and father figures everywhere. We open our minds and hearts now to this amazing infinite power of your love, always available and always flowing through us and to us. With hearts and minds open, we release any thoughts of limitation, any distractions from an awareness of your presence, so that we might more fully experience your love, peace, and wholeness. Open and ready to receive. We give ourselves to you, sweet Spirit. We give ourselves to God. We give ourselves to love. And we ask that you bless us and use us as expressions of your love, light, and peace. And we ask these things, sweet Spirit, in the name and through the power of the living, loving, and indwelling Christ. And so it is. Amen.
I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in loneliness, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of snow and rain, I have borne my people's pain. I have wept for love of them. They turn away. I will break their hearts of stone, give them hearts for love alone. I will speak my word to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart.
And now I invite you into a time of quiet prayer and meditation. And so as we do, we take a breath, moving deeply into our own being, our own awareness of presence, of the presence of God. Focusing on our breath, we know that we inhale, with every breath, we inhale the breath of spirit and allow it to fill our bodies, filling our bodies with life-giving oxygen, feeling the breath as it reaches down even into our toes. And as we release the breath and allow the breath of spirit to move easily in and through us, surrounding us, enfolding us. And as we continue to breathe and relax, we allow ourselves to merge into the oneness and the peaceful presence that permeates our consciousness, into the pure presence of being. And we discover that we are this presence. We are the peace. We are the sanctuary that we seek. We are one with the wholeness and the omnipresence of spirit. We are one with God. And from this awareness, knowing that we are safe, secure, and held in the arms of divine love, we allow the affirmations of this meditation to become our own words, to resonate within us. In this awareness, I know my oneness in God's glorious omnipresence, and I am free. I am free. I rejoice in the reunion of body, mind, and spirit, radiating through me in this peaceful, harmonizing moment. And I know that I am love. In this space of harmony and wholeness, I know the peace that passes understanding. For I know that I am home. I am home in the presence of pure beingness. I am home and I am whole. And I am richly blessed. Reunited with the Christ presence, I know the truth of my being. I know that there is no separation, that there is only one power, one presence, one activity, active as my life, God the good. I am a spiritual being, an expression of spirit in the world, whole and perfect in every way. And I right now express this truth through and as me. In this silent moment, I fully immerse myself in the pure presence of being. I surrender to the call of wholeness. I surrender to the call of oneness, to the call of love, to the call of peace. I surrender to the celebration of oneness in the silence. I am whole. I am love. I am light. Loving Spirit, Mother, Father, everything God, you are the power in me. You are the kingdom in me. You are the peace in me. You are the perfect presence expressing as me. And I give thanks for this growing awareness of your presence in my life. And I affirm that truly God is, and I am, and so it is. And now I invite you to join us in singing and praying together our Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
The kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours forever and ever. We sing those words. We sing those words every week, or we pray those words every week. And we sing them to the Father of all fathers, to our source, our supply, our guiding light, that God within, the Father of all fathers, that Jesus, our brother Jesus, called Abba. Abba is the Aramaic word that has come to be known as, to mean daddy. But the actual translation of the word more accurately would be one deserving of great honor, one for whom you hold a special place in your heart, one who you would make room for in your mind and heart. And so as we make room on our calendars today to celebrate fathers and father figures everywhere this Father's Day, I invite you to make room also for Abba. Make room in your mind and in your heart for the presence of God to show up, to be with you. Jesus used this word, Abba. He used it affectionately as a term of endearment for God. And he used it as a way of giving great honor to our source of being, to the unconditional love and infinite potential that he knew that God was and that God is. And so his name for God as our source really made a lot of sense in the culture and time that Jesus lived, because it was a patriarchal society in which a father really was the source of well-being. The father was the source of wealth, the source of land. The father was the giver of life, provider of seed, the bestower of blessings, the protector, and the teacher of courage and strength, of right action and wisdom. And those are things that we attribute to fathers today. The term of endearment of Abba was about one who was held in high regard, in whom one could give great trust, great faith. Great faith would be placed. And so those qualities that we see in this word Abba also are expressed through many fathers today. Maybe not all, but certainly most fathers that's expressed through. And we see it illustrated in our literature, and we see it illustrated in art, in TV series. And what comes to mind for me is the 1950s fathers, such as Ward Cleaver on Leave It to Beaver. And so some of you won't remember that show, but I'm old enough to remember it. And it was the sweetest thing. Steve and I have been watching reruns of Leave It to Beaver lately. And we just feel so blessed and so nostalgic as we watch these reruns of Leave It to Beaver. But Ward Cleaver is the epitome of the wise, courageous, and strong father. Although at times he gains some of his wisdom from his wife and from his children, but he is the epitome of a father who teaches courage and strength and who's always there, no matter what happens, always there. And then we have other TV fathers like Tim the Toolman Taylor from Home Improvement, which many more of you might recall, who is always seeking more power, more power. And he gained his wisdom from words that were spoken to him, either by his wife Jill or by the neighbor Wilson next door, and sometimes even the words of wisdom in his own children. But the TV show that I'm reminded of most today is a TV show from the 1950s called Make Room for Daddy. And in Make Room for Daddy, the actor Danny Thomas played Danny Williams. He basically was playing himself in that role. And he was an entertainer who traveled around the world. He was always out of town, hardly ever home. So when he did come home, they had to make room for him. His family would kind of fill in the space while he was gone. And they would fill in the space around the table, and his wife would have to say, okay, come on, make room for Daddy. And they'd fill in the space on the couch, and there'd be no room for him. And even in the bedroom, there was always people or things in the places that he wanted to be. And they had to make room for Daddy whenever he came home. The truth is they wanted to make room for Daddy, but they just got used to going things alone. And in our lives, we too sometimes get used to going things alone. We try to do it, we try to go it alone, but we really don't have to go it alone. We go it alone when we forget to make that space in our minds and hearts for the Spirit of God to be active and at work in our lives. But making this kind of room is a little different than clearing a space on the couch. And making room for God in our lives, while it can certainly be done through prayer and meditation and through our coming together in celebrations like this, there's more to it than just that. In order to really make room for God, we have to let go of what is not God. We have to let go of some of the things that we cling to, some of the things that clutter our minds and hearts and fill up the space where God should be. I read an article or a post by someone on Facebook last week, and it likened those things that we clutter our minds and hearts with to files in a file cabinet. And as soon as I heard that, I went, oh, you should see my file cabinets. The world today, people are doing things without paper, but I'm not one of them. We have a lot of paper in our house. We have file cabinets that are, they're so full that it's hard to pull the drawer open, and it's hard sometimes to even get one more little piece of paper in there. We have things that need to be cleared out. We have the books from washing machines that we no longer own, but we can't find our marriage license. We have gone through all of those file cabinets and can't find something truly important because of all the things that we keep that are not important. And it's a great metaphor for our lives. And in this article I was reading, it said that it's really important that we recognize that we are not the files. We are not the files that are in the filing cabinet. We are the file cabinet. And those files represent our thoughts and our ideas and all of our past experiences and those things that we cling to, those things that we believe that define us. But what defines us is that we are that cabinet We are that empty space. We are that empty space where God might be if we to clear some of the clutter out of the way. But when we haven't made room for God in our minds and hearts, we have a tendency to cling to those things that we just, those old washing machine instructions that stay and clutter up our minds and lives. There's a great story, about a father, a biblical father, who really exemplifies this idea of letting go and understanding what is important to keep and what is important to let go. And it's the story of Abraham. Abraham was the father of the Hebrew nation, came to be known as the father of all nations. And so Abraham lets go. He lets go of his familiar surroundings, the place where he lives, the place where he's comfortable, and he goes off into a new land because God has promised him all the land that he can see before him. And so he has to let go of what's comfortable in order to expand into what is potential for something much greater. We have to let go in order to receive. But the story of Abraham also tells that there's also another story to the story of Abraham, and it's a rather terrifying story. It's terrifying, really, because in all of this, Abraham has to make a really terrifying choice. He believes that God wants him to slay his cherished son, Isaac, for whom he has waited a lifetime. And so at this point, though, when we look at that story, it's quite terrifying until we begin to unravel the metaphysics of the story. In the metaphysics of the story, children represent ideas. They represent thoughts, pure and whole potential. And at that point where Abraham has taken his son Isaac up to the mountaintop and is ready to let him go and give him back to God, a goat shows up. A goat shows up in his son's place, and it is the goat that he is able to sacrifice instead of his dear, precious, cherished child. The truth is, God never asks us to let go of what we truly cherish, only the shadows of what we think we really need, of what we think we cherish. In the letter of James to the 12 tribes, in chapter 1, verse 17, he says, "Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of heavenly lights, who does not change like the shifting shadows." Every good and perfect gift is from above, from the Father of lights, who doesn't change like the shifting shadows. God is the wholeness that does not change. We are never asked to let go of what we truly cherish, what we truly desire. When we hold and cling tight to something, let's say we hold tight to a relationship that's no longer working, it's not the relationship that we cherish. It's the power of love that we cherish, and we're never asked to give up love. When we hold tight to a habit or an addiction, it's not the habit or the addiction that we cherish, that we can't let go of. It's the peace and comfort that we seek. That's the true desire, the true gift. And we're never asked to give that up as well. When we hold tight to our past experiences, whether they were positive or negative or good or bad, isn't really the issue. We have to let go of the past in order to be in the present and to experience the present. When we hold on to the past, It's because we desire security, and we are never asked to give up our security, for that is of God, and God is within us. We're never asked to sacrifice the pure and perfect gifts of spirit. Instead, we're asked to sacrifice the shifting shadows of outer thought. We're asked to clear the clutter from our minds and hearts so that we can make room for God, so that God can be within us, expressing as us, and expand and populate our thoughts and ideas and prosper us and bring that peace that is within us, the peace that's beyond understanding, into our worldly experience. In the world today, we understandably find ourselves clinging to the past, watching old reruns of Ward Cleaver and Leave It to Beaver, because those old ways of being seem to be the source of our security, of our peace. But the truth is, it is God that is a source of our peace and our well-being. And, in the world today, we see turbulence, we see violence and senseless acts of violence and discrimination and indifference. And at times we may feel that we could use a little shelter from that storm. Am I right? I know I could use some shelter from that storm. And so it's really clear, I think, that it's really important and that it's time that we make room for Abba in our lives, that we make more room for God in our lives and in the world. And we can learn something else about this idea from another biblical father. And this one could almost be called My Three Sons, but it's not. It's called the story of Noah. And Noah indeed did have 3 sons. But Noah knew something about making room for God. He made a lot of room for God because he built an ark, right? He built the ark that was to save his family from the flood. The ark was 300 by 50 by 30 cubits. Now, what's a cubit? And how do you translate that to feet? If you translate it to feet, it's about 450 by 75 by 45 feet. So it's a pretty big boat. It makes the ark about half the size of the Titanic. Now, that's a pretty big boat, for sure, but it doesn't seem to me that it's quite large enough to carry 2 of every living creature on the face of the earth, right? I mean, there are things about this story that the reasonable, logical mind cannot help but question, can't help but question the feasibility of the story. I mean, wouldn't the lions eat the lambs? And just the animal droppings, 40 days and 40 nights. I mean, the stench has got to be overwhelming for 40 days and 40 nights. But if we really if we want to rationalize that and reconcile that story, we can look to the fact that, God is more powerful than the smell of the droppings, and God is more powerful than the hunger of the lions. So there's that aspect of the story. But if we, again, go a little bit beneath the story and we go to the metaphysics of the story, there's something else even more powerful being told. Imagine for a moment that the animals, male and female, are thoughts and feelings. The animals are thoughts and feelings. Imagine all of your thoughts, all of your feelings, those things that create your experiences, are all brought under the shelter of something built by the guidance of God. Think about that for a minute. Think about that. All your thoughts, all your ideas brought into the shelter from the storm, into the shelter from the floods, away from the worldly hazards, sheltered from the illusions for 40 days and 40 nights, sheltered from all of that outer experience, a significant amount of time. 40 days and 40 nights is not 40 days and 40 nights on a calendar. It's a significant amount of time for rebalancing, alignment, and respite. And then the rains cease, and the dove comes back and brings back the olive branch, and you find yourself standing on dry land, land that is fruitful and safe. And a rainbow appears, a rainbow that is all the colors of the spectrum. It is all the colors of light, all the colors that light takes on as it refracts the particles. And as all the colors of our energy centers, our chakras, are shining brightly. What does the story of Noah mean when we take it to that level? What does that story of Noah mean when we recognize bringing all of us, all of what we are, under the shelter of the presence of Spirit? Does it mean that when we make room for Spirit, when we make room for the guidance of God and bring all our thoughts and ideas inward, sheltered from the outer conditions, that we are strengthened, that we are revitalized, that we become more fruitful, more prosperous, restored, and restored to wholeness? That to me is a much more powerful story than God destroying the earth because of man's wickedness. That's a story of empowerment that brings us to a higher level of expression of God. It's a story of the unconditional love of Spirit. It's a story of being sheltered from the outer experiences so that we can be empowered and restored by the presence of God. As we honor today fathers and father figures everywhere, I invite you to remember to make room for Abba, to make room for the Father of all fathers, to the source of all life, the giver of life, the giver of grace. And take all that you are. Take all that you are, not what you think you are, not the past experiences, but all that you are, all of your desires, all of your hopes, all of your dreams, all of your true desires, into the shelter of God's presence, into the shelter of that which gives life and promises light in every aspect of life. And know that you never have to go it alone, that God is always home, always there, always available. I find this idea that God is always there, always with us, just beautifully illustrated in a poem by Unity's poet laureate, or poet emeritus now, James Dillett Freeman. And it's a poem called I Am There. And I'd like to share it with you. Do you need me? I am there. You cannot see me, yet I am the light you see by. You cannot hear me, yet I speak through your voice. You cannot feel me, yet I am the power at work in your hands. I am at work, though you do not understand my ways. I am at work, though you do not understand my works. I am not strange visions. I am not mysteries. Only in absolute stillness, beyond self, can you know me as I am, and then but as a feeling and a faith. Yet I am here. Yet I hear. Yet I answer. When you need me, I am there. Even if you deny me, I am there. Even when you feel most alone, I am there. Even in your fears, I am there. Even in your pain, I am there. I am there when you pray and when you do not pray. I am in you and you are in me. Only in your mind can you feel separate from me, for only in your mind are the mists of yours and mine. Yet only with your mind can you know me and experience me. Empty your heart of empty fears. When you get yourself out of the way, I am there. You can of yourself do nothing, but I can do all, and I am in all. Though you may not see the good, good is there, for I am there. I am there because I have to be, because I am. Only in me does the world have meaning. Only out of me does the world take form. Only because of me does the world go forward. I am the law on which the movement of the stars and the growth of living cells are founded. I am the love that is the law's fulfilling. I am assurance. I am peace. I am oneness. I am the law that you can live by. I am the love that you can cling to. I am your assurance. I am your peace. I am one with you. I am. Though you fail to find me, I do not fail you. Though your faith in me is unsure, my faith in you never wavers, because I know you, because I love you. Beloved, I am there. Beloved, I am there. God is always there. God is always there, always available. And so as you go forward today, celebrating fathers and father figures, I remind you to remember to make room for Abba, the Father of all fathers, always there, always lifting, always sheltering, always inspiring, and always blessing. I invite you to remember to make room for Abba and have a blessed and glorious day. God bless.
Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and home? When God is my portion, a constant friend is He. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know God watches me. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know God watches me. I sing because I'm happy, and I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know God watches me. I sing because I'm happy, and I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know God watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know God watches. I know He watches. I know God watches me.
Thank you so much, Nancy. That was beautiful. What a wonderful way to sum up our celebration today, that his eye is always on the sparrow, that God is always with us, always caring for us, always lifting us up. And so I thank you for singing that beautiful song. I thank all of you for joining us today. And at this point, I'd like to invite you to bless the Spiritual Life Center with your thoughts, your love, your prayers, and if you are able, with your financial support. And so as we prepare for our love offering, I invite you to pray with us our love offering prayer, which is: divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And so it is. There are 3 ways, if you are supporting us financially, there are 3 ways that you can do that. One is through online giving by going to our website, www.slctroy.com/give. Or you can mail those contributions to our mailing address, which is 41340 Fox Run Road, number 106, Novi, Michigan, 48377. Or if you prefer, you can call Reverend Ron with your credit card number at 248-925-6214. We would also like to welcome any newcomers who are joining us for the first time today and invite you to join our email list by visiting our website and clicking on the Join Email link. This will enable us to keep you informed of events that are happening, to invite you to our coffee hour after the service, and to invite you to our Wednesday night meditations that are done through Zoom, and to keep you abreast of what is happening with our spiritual center, our physical center, as we get closer and closer to meeting in person. We'd also like to share with you about our Wednesday night prayer and meditation service, which begins at 7 p.m. each Wednesday. And it's just a time of prayer, a daily word, some meditation and music, and a time to connect. And in order to receive the invitation for that, you will need to be on our email list. So please do contact us through the website so we can include you in that invitation. If you have any prayer requests, we invite you to send those to Reverend Ron at ronaldfscott@gmail.com or at 248-925-6214. And if you have need of prayer at an unusual hour and you'd like to pray with Silent Unity, they are available 24/7 at 1-800-NOW-PRAY. And then I'd like to invite you, following the service, to our time of connection through Zoom. And you should have received that email with the link for our Zoom meeting yesterday, and also on Tuesday. So we'd like to invite you to join us for that. But before we go to our peace song and benediction, I'd also like to share with you that we have heard back from the Michigan State Management Education Center that they may be ready for us to resume services as early as July 12th. And so we have sent out an email to all of our members that are on our email list, and we've asked you for some feedback as we move forward to determine when the best date is for us to meet. That will be, great to be back together, but also take into consideration keeping all of us safe and what is best for everyone. So there's only 2 questions on the survey. If you've gotten the email and haven't read it yet or haven't taken the survey, we'd really like you to do that today so that we can get together and discuss that and work with the Management Education Center to make the best decision possible about what date we will resume our services there. And with that, I'd like to invite you into sharing together our peace song and our benediction.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin Please begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now as you go forth, know that the light of God surrounds you, the love of God enfolds you.
The Lord bless thee and keep thee.
The power of God protects you.
The Lord make his face to shine upon thee, and be gracious unto thee.
The presence of God watches over you.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee, and grant thee peace.
Wherever you are, God is.
Amen. Amen.
Go your way rejoicing. All is truly well.